I'm about to destroy the biggest lie that's been sold to your generation. You've been told that everyone is special, that everyone deserves success, that everyone should follow their passion and the money will follow. That's complete nonsense, and it's keeping you broke and frustrated. The marketplace doesn't care about your feelings. The marketplace doesn't care about your self-esteem. The marketplace doesn't care about your passion. The marketplace only cares about value. And most people bring very little value to the marketplace. You've been taught that you're entitled to success without earning it, that you deserve rewards without providing results, that you should get paid for your potential instead of your performance, but reality doesn't work that way. Success is earned, not given. Wealth is created, not distributed. Results matter more than intentions. If you want more money, become more valuable. If you want better opportunities, become a better person. Stop waiting for the world to recognize your specialness and start working to become actually special. Let me tell you something that most people don't want to hear but absolutely need to understand. Nothing works until you do. Not your dreams, not your plans, not your goals, not your wishes, not your hopes. Nothing works until you work. I know that's tough to swallow. Most people are looking for the easy way, the shortcut, the magic formula that will transform their lives overnight. They want success without the struggle, the harvest without the planning, the reward without the work. But here's what I've learned after decades of studying successful people and helping millions transform their lives. There is no substitute for personal effort. There is no replacement for rolling up your sleeves and doing what needs to be done. You see, we live in a world that sells us fairy tales. We're told that if we just think positive thoughts, if we just visualize our success, if we just believe hard enough, somehow the universe will conspire to give us everything we want. That's not how life works. That's not how success works. Success has a price, and that price must be paid in advance. You cannot pay on delivery. You cannot put it on layaway. You cannot negotiate the terms. The price of success is work, discipline, sacrifice, and persistence. And you must pay this price before you receive the rewards. I learned this lesson the hard way. When I was 25 years old, I was broke, behind on my promises, and embarrassed by my results. I had all the same dreams that everyone else had. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to make money. I wanted to live well. But I was waiting for success to find me. I was waiting for my ship to come in, not realizing that I hadn't sent one out. One day my mentor asked me a question that changed my life forever. He said, "Jim, if you want things to change, you have to change. If you want things to get better, you have to get better. If you want more, you have to become more." That's when I realized that I had been approaching life backward. I had been waiting for external circumstances to improve my internal condition. When the truth is, you must improve your internal condition to change your external circumstances. The marketplace doesn't care about your needs. The marketplace doesn't care about your family situation. The marketplace doesn't care about your past mistakes or your current struggles. The marketplace only pays you for the value you bring to the marketplace, and if you're not bringing value, you're not getting paid. It's that simple. Most people think that success is about getting lucky, being in the right place at the right time, or having the right connections. But luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity, and preparation is work, hard work, consistent work, disciplined work, the kind of work that most people are not willing to do. You know what the problem is with most people? They want to reap where they have not sown. They want to harvest where they have not planted. They want to withdraw where they have not deposited. Life doesn't work that way. The law of the harvest is fixed. You must plant before you can harvest. You must sow before you can reap. You must work before you can succeed. And here's another truth that might make you uncomfortable. Your current situation is not your final destination, unless you decide it is. Where you are right now is simply the result of the choices you've made, the habits you've developed, and the actions you've taken or failed to take. If you don't like where you are, you can change it. But you have to be willing to do the work. The work is not just about putting in hours. The work is about putting in the right kind of hours. The work is about developing skills, building character, creating value, and serving others. The work is about becoming the kind of person who attracts success rather than chasing after it. I've watched thousands of people over the years, and I can tell you that the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is not talent, not luck, not background, not education. The difference is work ethic. Successful people are willing to do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. They're willing to pay the price that unsuccessful people are not willing to pay. But here's the beautiful thing about work. It's the great equalizer. Work doesn't care about your past. Work doesn't care about your limitations. Work doesn't care about your excuses. Work only cares about your effort. And effort is something that every single person can control. You might be thinking, but Jim, I've tried before and failed. Good. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. Every successful person has failed more times than unsuccessful people have even tried. The difference is that successful people see failure as feedback, not as a final verdict. When you truly understand that nothing works until you do, everything changes. You stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop waiting for the right time. You realize that the right time is now. And the right person is you. The person you are today is not the person you have to be tomorrow. You can change, you can grow, you can improve, you can become more than you are right now. But it requires work. It requires you to step up, step out, and step into the person you're capable of becoming. Here's something most people never consider. Success is not about what happens to you. It's about what you do with what happens to you. Life is going to throw challenges at everyone. Economic downturns will come, personal setbacks will happen, people will disappoint you, plans will fall through. But the successful person doesn't let these external events determine their internal response. I remember meeting a man who lost everything in a business failure. His competitors were celebrating his downfall, thinking he was finished. But instead of feeling sorry for himself, he spent the next 2 years studying what went wrong, learning new skills, and building better relationships. When he launched his next venture, he was more prepared, more skilled, and more connected than ever before. His failure became his education, and his setback became his comeback. That's the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people. Unsuccessful people let their circumstances control their choices. Successful people let their choices control their circumstances. They understand that while they cannot control what happens to them, they can control what they do about what happens to them. This is why I always tell people, don't wish life were easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. The problem is not that life is difficult. The problem is that we're not developing ourselves to handle life's difficulties. Success requires you to become comfortable with discomfort. Success requires you to become familiar with failure. Success requires you to embrace uncertainty and move forward anyway. Most people run from discomfort, avoid failure, and demand certainty before they act. That's why most people never achieve extraordinary results. The marketplace rewards value, not effort. The marketplace rewards results, not good intentions. The marketplace rewards solutions, not problems. If you want to be rewarded by the marketplace, you must bring value to the marketplace. And value is created through work, through effort, through solving problems that other people cannot or will not solve. So let me ask you this question. What are you waiting for? What are you hoping will change before you start working on yourself and your dreams? What external circumstance are you waiting to improve before you begin the internal work of becoming successful? The truth is, there will never be a perfect time to start. There will never be perfect conditions. There will never be a guarantee of success, but there will always be an opportunity to work, to grow, to improve, and to become more than you are today. Nothing works until you do. This is not just a catchy phrase. It's a fundamental principle of success. It's the foundation upon which all achievement is built. It's the starting point for every success story you've ever heard. Now let me tell you something else that's crucial to understand. You are the architect of your own life. You are the author of your own story. You are the creator of your own circumstances. This might be hard to accept, especially if you're going through difficult times right now, but it's absolutely true. Taking responsibility for your life is not about blame, it's about power. When you take responsibility, you take control. When you take control, you can change direction. When you can change direction, you can change your destination. I meet people all the time who are quick to tell me why they can't succeed. They blame their parents, their education, their boss, their spouse, the economy, the government, their circumstances, their age, their background, their lack of money, their lack of time, their lack of connections. They have a story for everything except taking responsibility for their own life. But here's what I've learned. Successful people don't make excuses, they make progress. They don't blame others, they take responsibility. They don't complain about their circumstances, they change their circumstances. Let me tell you a story about two farmers who lived next to each other. Both had the same size farm, the same soil, the same weather conditions, the same market prices. One farmer prospered year after year while the other struggled constantly. What was the difference? The successful farmer took responsibility for his results. When crops failed, he figured out what went wrong and how to prevent it next time. When prices dropped, he found ways to reduce costs or improve quality. When weather was bad, he adapted his farming methods. The struggling farmer spent his time complaining about the weather, the market, the government, and his bad luck. He never took responsibility for his results, so he never learned from his mistakes. He never improved his methods, so he never improved his result. The same sun shone on both farms. The same rain fell on both farms. The same opportunities were available to both farmers. But one took responsibility and prospered, while the other made excuses and struggled. Which farmer are you? Are you taking responsibility for your life, or are you making excuses? Are you looking for solutions, or are you looking for someone to blame? Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Most people are addicted to their excuses. They hold on to their reasons for failure like treasures. They protect their justifications for mediocrity like precious possessions. They nurture their explanations for limitation like beloved pets. Why? Because excuses give them permission to quit. Excuses give them permission to stay where they are. Excuses give them permission to avoid the work. But here's what excuses really are. They're lies we tell ourselves to avoid taking responsibility. They're stories we create to justify our lack of action. They're barriers we build to protect ourselves from the possibility of failure. But in protecting ourselves from the possibility of failure, we also protect ourselves from the possibility of success. I've met people who can give you a detailed explanation of why they can't succeed, but they've never spent 5 minutes planning how they could succeed. They've invested more energy in their excuses than in their dreams. They've put more creativity into their justifications than into their solutions. Successful people don't have fewer problems than unsuccessful people. They have better responses to their problems. They don't have better circumstances, they have better choices. They don't have more opportunities, they create more opportunities. They don't have less resistance, they have more persistence. Every successful person has a story of overcoming obstacles that others would use as excuses. Every successful person has faced challenges that others would use as reasons to quit. Every successful person has encountered setbacks that others would use as justifications for failure. The difference is not in what happens to them. The difference is in how they respond to what happens to them. The difference is not in their circumstances. The difference is in their choices. The difference is not in their luck. The difference is in their labor. When you truly understand this principle, everything changes. You stop looking for external solutions to internal problems. You stop waiting for someone else to change your life. You stop hoping for better circumstances and start creating better circumstances. Here's the liberating truth about taking responsibility. When you accept that you are responsible for your life, you also accept that you have the power to change it. You're not a victim of circumstances. You're a creator of circumstances. You're not at the mercy of external forces. You have internal power. This doesn't mean that bad things won't happen to you. This doesn't mean that you control everything that happens in your life. What it means is that you control how you respond to what happens to you. And your response is what determines your results. Viktor Frankl, who survived the Nazi concentration camp, said something profound. Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, the ability to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Even in the worst possible conditions, you still have the freedom to choose your response. If Viktor Frankl could choose his attitude in a concentration camp, what excuse do you have for not taking responsibility for your life? If he could find meaning and purpose in the midst of unimaginable suffering, what's stopping you from finding meaning and purpose in your current situation? The moment you stop blaming others and start taking responsibility is the moment your life begins to change. The moment you stop looking for excuses and start looking for solutions is the moment you begin to succeed. The moment you stop being a victim and start being a victor is the moment you reclaim your power. But taking responsibility is not enough. You must also develop the work ethic that will carry you to success. And when I talk about work ethic, I'm not just talking about working hard. I'm talking about working smart, working consistently, and working with purpose. There's a big difference between being busy and being productive. There's a big difference between motion and progress. There's a big difference between activity and achievement. You can be busy all day long and still not accomplish anything meaningful. You can be in motion all the time and still not make progress toward your goals. Real work is purposeful work. Real work is productive work. Real work is work that moves you closer to your goals, not just work that makes you feel busy. Real work is work that creates value, not just work that fills time. I've seen people work 12 hours a day and accomplish less than people who work 6 hours a day. The difference is not in the quantity of work. It's in the quality of work. It's not about how many hours you put in. It's about what you put into the hours. The most successful people I know are not necessarily the hardest workers in terms of hours. They're the smartest workers in terms of results. They focus on the activities that produce the greatest return on their investment of time and energy. Here's a key principle. Consistency beats intensity every time. It's better to work consistently for a reasonable amount of time than to work intensely for a short period and then burn out. Success is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's not about one heroic effort, it's about thousands of small efforts compounded over time. The compound effect is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. Small actions, repeated consistently over time, create massive results. A penny doubled every day for 30 days becomes over $5 million. That's the power of consistency and compound growth. Most people underestimate the power of small actions because they don't see immediate results. They want instant gratification, immediate feedback, quick rewards. But the most powerful changes happen slowly, gradually, almost imperceptibly at first. Think about a bamboo tree. For the first 4 years, you see virtually no growth above ground. But in the 5th year, the bamboo tree grows 90 feet in 90 days. Did it grow 90 feet in 90 days, or did it grow 90 feet in 5 years? The answer is 5 years. The first 4 years were spent developing the root system that could support the explosive growth. In the 5th year, your success is like that bamboo tree. You might not see dramatic results in the first few months or even years of working on yourself and your goals, but if you keep working consistently, if you keep developing your skills, if you keep building your character, if you keep creating value, eventually you will have your breakthrough moment. The problem is that most people give up during the root development phase. They don't see immediate results, so they think their efforts are not working. They quit just before the breakthrough. They abandon their dreams just before the harvest. But here's what successful people know. The work you do today might not pay off today, but it will pay off. The seeds you plant today might not sprout today, but they will sprout. The investment you make in yourself today might not show returns today, but it will show returns. This is why you must work on yourself harder than you work on your job. Your job will give you a living, but personal development will give you a life. Your job will pay your bills, but personal development will make you wealthy. Your job will occupy your time, but personal development will expand your possibilities. Most people spend more time planning their vacation than planning their life. They spend more money on their car than on their mind. They spend more effort on their appearance than on their character. They work harder on their job than on themselves. But here's the key insight. If you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you'll make a fortune. The formula is simple. Become more valuable, and you'll become more valuable to the marketplace. The marketplace pays you for the value you bring to the marketplace. If you want to earn more, you must become worth more. If you want to achieve more, you must become more. If you want to have more, you must become more. So this is why successful people are always learning, always growing, always improving. They understand that their earning power is directly related to their learning power. They understand that their income rarely exceeds their personal development. You cannot get rich by demand. You cannot get successful by demand. You cannot get valuable by demand. You can only get rich by becoming valuable. You can only get successful by becoming successful. You can only get valuable by developing value. And the only way to develop value is through work, the work of learning, growing, improving, and becoming more than you are today. The work of developing skills, building character, creating value, and serving others. The work is not always easy. Sometimes it's difficult, challenging, uncomfortable, and demanding, but the work is always worth it. The work is what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. The work is what transforms dreams into reality. Your philosophy shapes your life more than anything else. Your philosophy is your fundamental beliefs about life, success, money, relationships, and yourself. Your philosophy determines your decisions determine your actions, and your actions determine your results. If you have a poor philosophy, you'll have poor results, no matter how hard you work. If you have a wealthy philosophy, you'll have wealthy results, even if you start with nothing. Philosophy is the foundation of success. Most people have never taken the time to develop their philosophy. They've inherited their beliefs from their parents, their teachers, their friends, their culture, and their circumstances. They've never questioned these beliefs or examined whether they're serving them well. But successful people are intentional about their philosophy. They choose their beliefs carefully. They study success principles. They learn from mentors and models. They read books, attend seminars, and surround themselves with people who think differently than they do. Here's a fundamental question. What do you believe about success? Do you believe it's possible for you? Do you believe you deserve it? Do you believe you can achieve it? Do you believe it's worth the effort? Your beliefs about success will determine your actions toward success. If you don't believe success is possible for you, you won't take the actions necessary to achieve it. If you don't believe you deserve success, you'll sabotage yourself when you get close to it. But if you believe success is possible, if you believe you deserve it, if you believe you can achieve it, if you believe it's worth the effort, then you'll take the actions necessary to make it happen. You'll work when others won't. You'll persist when others quit. You'll sacrifice when others won't. The most important work you can do is the work on your philosophy. This is the work that will transform every area of your life. This is the work that will change your results without changing your circumstances. Personal development is not just about learning new skills or acquiring new knowledge. Personal development is about transforming your thinking, upgrading your beliefs, and expanding your possibilities. Personal development is about becoming the person who can attract, achieve, and maintain success. The best investment you can make is in yourself. The best use of your time is developing yourself. The best use of your money is educating yourself. The best use of your energy is improving yourself. Books are one of the greatest tools for personal development. Books contain the wisdom of the ages. Books are the accumulated knowledge and experience of successful people. Books are mentors that never leave you, teachers that never quit on you, and friends that never betray you. The person you become in 5 years will be determined by the books you read and the people you associate with. If you read the same books you've always read and associate with the same people you've always associated with, you'll be the same person in 5 years that you are today. But if you read books that challenge your thinking, expand your knowledge, and inspire your action, you'll become a different person. If you associate with people who are more successful than you, who think differently than you, who challenge you to grow, you'll become more successful. This is why successful people are always learning. They understand that formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. They understand that what you learn after you leave school is more important than what you learned in school. The most successful people I know are voracious readers. They read books about success, business, leadership, personal development, and their chosen field. They read biographies of successful people. They read books that challenge their thinking and expand their possibilities. But reading is not enough. You must also apply what you learn. Knowledge without application is powerless. Information without implementation is worthless. Learning without action is futile. The goal is not to accumulate knowledge. The goal is to apply knowledge. The goal is not to know more. The goal is to become more. The goal is not to be impressed by what you learn. The goal is to be changed by what you learn. This brings me to one of the most important principles of success. You must measure your progress, not just your results. Results are important, but progress is more important. Results can be affected by external factors beyond your control, but progress is always within your control. You cannot control the economy, but you can control your effort. You cannot control the market, but you can control your preparation. You cannot control your circumstances, but you can control your response to your circumstances. Focus on what you can control and let go of what you cannot control. Focus on your progress, not just your results. Focus on your growth, not just your achievements. Focus on your development, not just your destination. Success is not a destination, it's a journey. It's not about reaching a certain point, it's about becoming a certain person. It's not about having more, it's about being more. It's not about achieving your goals, it's about becoming the person who can achieve your goals. The most successful people I know are not necessarily the most talented, the most educated, or the most advantaged. They're the most developed. They've worked harder on themselves than on anything else. They've invested more in their personal development than in any other area of their life. This is why you must work harder on yourself than on your job. Your job pays your bills, but personal development pays your life. Your job gives you a living, but personal development gives you a lifestyle. Your job occupies your time, but personal development expands your time. The work you do on yourself is the most important work you'll ever do. It's the work that will determine your success in every area of your life. It's the work that will separate you from the crowd and set you apart from the ordinary. Now, let me tell you about the difference between knowing and doing. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Information is not valuable. Implemented information is valuable. Learning's not enough. Action is what creates results. Most people know what to do, but few people actually do what they know. Most people have good intentions, but intentions without action are worthless. Most people have great plans, but plans without implementation are just dreams. The gap between knowing and doing is where most people fail. They know they should exercise, but they don't exercise. They know they should read, but they don't read. They know they should save money, but they don't save money. They know they should work on their goals, but they don't work on their goals. Why is there such a gap between knowing and doing? Because knowing is easy, but doing is hard. Knowing requires no commitment, but doing requires commitment. Knowing has no consequences, but doing has consequences. Knowing is safe, but doing involves risk. But here's the truth. You will never change your life through knowledge alone. You will only change your life through action. You will never achieve your goals through planning alone. You will only achieve your goals through execution. The most successful people I know are not necessarily the most knowledgeable people. They're the most action-oriented people. They don't just learn, they apply. They don't just plan, they execute. They don't just dream, they do. This is why you must develop a bias toward action. When you learn something new, apply it immediately. When you have an idea, act on it quickly. When you make a decision, implement it promptly. When you set a goal, start working on it today. The longer you wait between learning and applying, the less likely you are to take action. The longer you wait between deciding and doing, the less likely you are to follow through. The longer you wait between planning and executing, the less likely you are to achieve your goals. Procrastination is the enemy of success. Procrastination is the thief of dreams. Procrastination is the destroyer of potential. Every day you delay is a day you cannot recover. Every opportunity you postpone is an opportunity you may lose forever. But here's what's interesting about procrastination. It's not really about time management. It's about emotion management. People don't procrastinate because they don't have time. They procrastinate because they don't feel like doing what needs to be done. The key to overcoming procrastination is to act despite how you feel. Successful people don't wait until they feel like doing something. They do it, whether they feel like it or not. They understand that feelings follow actions, not the other way around. And if you wait until you feel motivated to take action, you'll wait forever. Motivation is a result of action, not a cause of action. You don't get motivated and then take action. You take action and then get motivated. This is why you must develop the discipline to do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. This is the discipline that separates successful people from unsuccessful people. This is the discipline that transforms dreams into reality. The time to act is now. The time to start is today. The time to begin is this moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, not next year, now. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Tomorrow is not promised. Tomorrow is not coming. The only time you have is now. The only moment you can control is this moment. The only opportunity you can act on is this opportunity. Most people live their lives in the future. They're always planning to start tomorrow. They're always going to begin next week. They're always going to get serious next month. They're always going to make changes next year. But tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow is always one day away. Tomorrow is always in the future. Tomorrow is a myth that keeps people from taking action today. The people who succeed are the people who act today. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They don't wait for the right time. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for motivation. They act with what they have, where they are, right now. You don't need perfect conditions to start. You don't need the right time to begin. You don't need permission to act. You don't need motivation to take action. You just need to start. Start where you are. Start with what you have. Start with what you know. Start with what you can do. Start small, but start. Start imperfectly, but start. Start scared, but start. The power is in the starting. The magic is in the beginning. The momentum is in the first step. Once you start, you can improve. Once you begin, you can adjust. Once you take the first step, you can take the second step. But you cannot improve what you don't start. You cannot adjust what you don't begin. You cannot take the second step if you don't take the first step. Most people spend more time planning to start than they spend actually starting. They spend more time preparing to begin than they spend actually beginning. They spend more time thinking about taking action than they spend actually taking action. But preparation without action is procrastination in disguise. Planning without execution is dreaming in disguise. Thinking without doing is fantasy in disguise. The key is to start before you feel ready. The key is to begin before you feel prepared. The key is to act before you feel confident. Because if you wait until you feel ready, you'll wait forever. If you wait until you feel prepared, you'll never begin. If you wait until you feel confident, you'll never act. Confidence comes from action, not from thinking about action. Preparation comes from doing, not from planning to do. Readiness comes from starting, not from waiting to start. This is why you must take action now. This is why you must start today. This is why you must begin this moment. Not because you feel ready, but because readiness comes from action. Not because you feel confident, but because confidence comes from doing. Not because you feel prepared, but because preparation comes from starting. The most successful people I know are not necessarily the most prepared people when they start. They're the most action-oriented people. They start before they feel ready. They begin before they feel prepared. They act before they feel confident. And here's what happens when you start. You build momentum. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in success. Momentum makes everything easier. Momentum makes everything faster. Momentum makes everything more fun. But momentum doesn't start itself. Momentum doesn't create itself. Momentum doesn't maintain itself. Momentum comes from action. Momentum comes from movement. Momentum comes from doing. The hardest part of any journey is the first step. The hardest part of any project is the beginning. The hardest part of any goal is the starting. Once you start, once you begin, once you take that first step, momentum begins to build. And momentum has a compound effect. The more you do, the more you can do. The more you act, the more you want to act. The more you progress, the more you want to progress. This is why you must start now. This is why you must begin today. This is why you must take action this moment. Because momentum is waiting for you to start. Success is waiting for you to begin. Your dreams are waiting for you to act. But momentum can also work against you. If you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. If you're not progressing, you're regressing. If you're not growing, you're dying. There is no standing still in life. There is no neutral position. There is no pause button. You're either moving forward or backward, progressing or regressing, growing or declining. This is why you cannot afford to wait. This is why you cannot afford to delay. This is why you cannot afford to procrastinate. Every day you wait is a day you fall behind. Every opportunity you postpone is an opportunity you may never get back. The time is now, the person is you, the moment is this moment. You have everything you need to start, you have everything you need to begin, you have everything you need to take action. You have a mind that can think. You have a body that can move. You have a heart that can feel. You have a spirit that can soar. You have hands that can work. You have feet that can walk. You have eyes that can see. You have ears that can hear. You have more resources available to you right now than any generation in history. You have more opportunities available to you right now than any generation in history. You have more possibilities available to you right now than any generation in history. But resources without action are worthless. Opportunities without action are meaningless. Possibilities without action are powerless. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is not resources. The difference is not opportunities. The difference is not possibilities. The difference is action. Successful people act on their resources. Unsuccessful people ignore their resources. Successful people seize their opportunities. Unsuccessful people miss their opportunities. Successful people pursue their possibilities. Which person are you going to be? Are you going to be the person who acts on their resources or the person who ignores their resources? Are you going to be the person who seizes their opportunities or the person who misses their opportunities? Are you going to be the person who pursues their possibilities? The choice is yours, the decision is yours, the responsibility is yours, the power is yours. The time is now. Nothing works until you do. This is not just a motivational phrase. It's a fundamental truth. This is not just a catchy saying. It's a success principle. This is not just inspiration. it's instruction. Your dreams are waiting for you to work on them. Your goals are waiting for you to pursue them. Your potential is waiting for you to develop it. Your success is waiting for you to create it. But they're not going to work themselves. They're not going to pursue themselves. They're not going to develop themselves. They're not going to create themselves. They need you to work. They need you to act. They need you to do. So what are you going to do? Are you going to continue waiting, or are you going to start working? Are you going to continue making excuses, or are you going to start making progress? Are you going to continue complaining about your circumstances, or are you going to start changing your circumstances? The choice is yours, but the time is now. The decision is yours, but the opportunity is today. The responsibility is yours, but the moment is this moment. Let me share with you the single most important lesson I've learned in my decades of studying success. The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. The breakthrough you're seeking is on the other side of the effort you don't want to make. The life you want is waiting for you to become the person who can create it. Too many people are waiting for a miracle when they could be working toward a breakthrough. They're waiting for luck when they could be creating opportunity. They're waiting for chance when they could be building certainty through consistent action. Here's what I want you to understand. Every single day you delay is a day you cannot recover. Every single opportunity you postpone is an opportunity that may never return. Every single moment you waste is a moment that's gone forever. Time is the one resource you cannot earn more of or get back once it's spent. But here's the beautiful truth. You don't need more time to start. You need to start to make better use of your time. You don't need perfect timing. You need to perfect your commitment to action. You don't need ideal circumstances. You need to ideally utilize your current circumstances. I want to tell you about a conversation I had with a young man who kept telling me he was waiting for the right opportunity. I asked him, what if the right opportunity is the one you create by starting where you are? He said, but I don't have enough money to start. I said, how much money do you need to read a book? How much money do you need to learn a skill? How much money do you need to serve someone else? He realized that he had been looking for financial resources when what he really needed were personal resources. Most people overestimate what they need and underestimate what they have. They focus on what they lack instead of leveraging what they possess. They complain about what they don't have instead of maximizing what they do have. You have 24 hours in every day. That's the same amount of time successful people have. You have access to information, education, and knowledge that previous generations could only dream of. You have opportunities that kings and queens of the past never had. You have resources that the wealthiest people in history never possessed. But resources without action are useless. Opportunities without effort are meaningless. Time without purpose is wasted. Knowledge without application is powerless. The question is not whether you have what it takes to succeed. The question is whether you'll do what it takes to succeed. The question is not whether you're capable of greatness. The question is whether you're committed to the work that creates greatness. Success is not about having extraordinary talent. It's about doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. Success is not about being gifted. It's about being committed. Success is not about being lucky. It's about being prepared when opportunity meets preparation. And here's something most people don't realize. The work itself will change you. The effort itself will improve you. The action itself will develop you. Every time you do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not, you become stronger. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you expand your capacity. Every time you persist when others quit, you develop character. The work is not just about achieving your goals. The work is about becoming the person who can achieve your goals. The effort is not just about reaching your destination. The effort is about becoming worthy of your destination. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop waiting for the right time. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for someone else to change your life. Start working on your dreams. Start pursuing your goals. Start developing your potential. Start creating your success. Start today. Start now. Start with what you have, where you are right now. Because nothing works until you do. Nothing changes until you change. Nothing improves until you improve. Nothing succeeds until you succeed. I want to leave you with this final thought. 5 years from now, you're going to be somewhere. The question is where. You're going to be someone. The question is who. You're going to have accomplished something. The question is what. The answers to these questions will be determined by the choices you make and the actions you take starting today. The person you become will be determined by the work you do. The life you live will be determined by the effort you make. Don't let another day pass without taking action toward your dreams. Don't let another week go by without working on your goals. Don't let another month slip away without developing yourself. Don't let another year disappear without making progress. The work is waiting for you. The action is waiting for you. The success is waiting for you. But they're not going to wait forever. They're not going to wait until you feel ready. They're not going to wait until you feel motivated. They're not going to wait until you feel confident. They're waiting for you to start. They're waiting for you to begin. They're waiting for you to act. They're waiting for you to work. Your dreams are depending on you. Your family is counting on you. Your future is waiting for you. But most importantly, you are worth the effort. You are worth the work. You are worth the success. So get to work, get to action, get to doing, get to succeeding. Because nothing works until you do, and everything works when you do. The time is now, the person is you, the moment is this moment. Your life is waiting for you to start living it. Your success is waiting for you to start creating it. Your dreams are waiting for you to start pursuing them. But nothing works until you do. So do the work, take the action, make the effort, pay the price. Because on the other side of the work is the life you've always wanted. On the other side of the action is the success you've always dreamed of. On the other side of the effort is the person you've always wanted to become. Nothing works until you do. So do the work and watch everything work. Let me leave you with this final truth. You have heard everything you need to hear. You know everything you need to know. The question is no longer what to do. The question is whether you will do what you know needs to be done. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can close this speech and go back to your old habits, your old excuses, your old life. Or you can decide that today is the day everything changes. Today is the day you stop being a victim of circumstances and start being a creator of circumstances. 5 years from now, you will arrive somewhere. The only question is where. You will become someone. The only question is who. You will have built something. The only question is what. The answers to these questions are being determined right now by the choice you make in the next few minutes. Will you choose to work, or will you choose to wait? Will you choose action, or will you choose excuses? Your dreams are waiting. Your family is counting on you. Your future is in your hands. But remember this, nothing works until you do. The time for talking is over. The time for action is now. Get to work.